range. These things could pose a potential threat to both the animals as well as people and even other animals within the ecosystem if we don't really understand what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with the point you made earlier that, you know, colossal bioscience are free to do whatever they want. But money in terms of wildlife, I think, should be invested in preserving what we've got, because bringing back animals from extinction, I think it's just really the novelty value, isn't it? And we're not really looking at the ramifications of all of this. You know, if we bring back dodos, which they're trying to do, big beaked birds, you know, that really weren't cut out for the modern world. I mean, what do we do? What do we do with them? They can't survive. People, you know, people used to kill other animals or kill them. They're slow. They can't fly. So it just seems that this whole idea, the Jurassic Park concept of bringing back animals, is just for fun and novelty, and that I think is a kind of dubious territory.
Yes, I would agree with many of your points there. I think there is an element of scientific sort of wonder, can we do it? But then at the same time, it does raise all these issues of should we do it? So the ability of can and should are two very different questions.
Absolutely. Cassius, really good to talk to you. Fascinating subject. Thank you so much for your time. That's Cassius Morrison, paleontologist. What do you think about that? Should we, you know, Jurassic Park? So these are animals from 600 years ago. You can keep going back and bring back dinosaurs like in Jurassic Park. You want to do that? I don't know. Let me know what you think, maybe at 03444991000. As I said, after the news, we'll be talking about the burning effigy of boat people in Northern Ireland that the police seem to think was a hate crime. Why? We'll ask that question after the news. Stay tuned.
smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back. Now, let's talk about Northern Ireland. Last week, July the 12th, in Northern Ireland, they had this sort of festival of the bonfires. It is to celebrate the anniversary of the victory of William of Orange over Catholic forces, Catholic King James. So it's quite a spectacle. They built these enormous pallet bonfires. They're the height of skyscrapers, and you know, you can see them for as far as the eye can see. They're massive, great things. Now, one of them last week, one of them on July the 12th, featured like in the flames, if you like, at the top, towards the top, a burning effigy of migrants in a small boat, you know, so there they are, you see, and then when the flames went up, it's silhouetted against the flames. And underneath this message was stop the boats, and why, and then also it said that veterans before refugees. Stop the boats, veterans before refugees. Remember, Northern Ireland, they suffer from the migrant crisis just as much as the rest of the country, if not worse. So it's a hot issue over there. So they put this up there. Anyway, the police are, this was in the pro-British town of Moygashel. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. And as I say, this commemorates the victory of William of Orange's troops over the Catholic King James in the Battle of Boyne in 1690. It's quite a tradition there. Anyway, Sinn Féin called this display a clear incitement to hatred. Was it? Or was it an expression of a valid opinion? My question is, why are the police investigating this bonfire as a potential hate crime? Why? Why? Isn't this just an expression of a political opinion? Let's talk to, from the Union Voice Policy Studies organisation, Jamie Bryson. Welcome, Jamie.
Hi, Kevin. Good to be with you.
Yeah, well, you heard my question. Look, there's this bonfire, you know, big tradition in Northern Ireland, and there they put across the top a boat with migrants and effigy that burns up. It says stop the boats, and also veterans before migrants. Why are police investigating this as a potential hate crime? Well, why is that a hate crime? Isn't that an expression of a political opinion?
Absolutely it is, and I mean, I noticed there in your introduction you made reference to the people leading the complaints about this was Sinn Féin. Sinn Féin, who continue to endorse what the IRA did for 30 years, including the IRA who firebombed the Le Mans Hotel trying to kill soldiers and incinerated people and murdered them. So I don't think anybody will be taking either fire safety or moral lectures from Sinn Féin, of all people. But look, the same people, you know, the latte drinking liberal elite who got themselves all excited about this are the same people who, whenever there's when DCAP were shouting "kill you MP," whenever they were putting out promotional material with Arlene Foster and Boris Johnson, images of them burning on it, whenever there's effigies of Nigel Farage or Donald Trump or any of those people, these same people think they call it art. So it seems to be arts in the eye of the woke beholder. And if you like the messaging, then it's art, and if you don't, it's a hate crime. So we're going to, you know, well, I mean, we're going to have the same standard here across the board, because it can't be art so as long as it subjectively ticks the woke-o-latte message, but then it's a hate crime if you say anything which the hyper woke latte drinkers don't like, and that's fundamentally the issue here. This is not a hate crime. It's and for the other people, by the way, who cling to the European Convention of Human Rights, actually these human rights defenders probably want to go and look at the judgments of the European Court of Human Rights on this, who have said the burning of effigies or political messaging is actually protected under Article 10. So, I mean, it's somewhat ironic that actually the chief human rights defenders now want to go against the protections in Article 10 that have people prosecuted for hate crimes for sharing what is a political message on an issue of contemporary controversy.
Yeah, I mean, let's not forget, lest we forget, not so long ago, every speech that the then Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, delivered was from behind a lectern with the sign on it saying, stop the boats. So I don't remember him being investigated for a hate crime. What this is, Jamie, is a freedom of speech issue. And I don't think the police should be involved at all. Are people like you, or is anybody in Northern Ireland, telling the police they got a butt out here? They shouldn't be investigating this?
Yeah, I mean, look, I've had many clashes with the police over a number of years. I do a bit of work in law as well, in respect of overreach in terms of these issues and politically motivated pursuit of people if the political messaging is not correct. Ultimately, I think what the police look into is on this is I don't think they'll go after anybody for a hate crime. It will be put down as one of these nonsensical hate incidents, which really means if somebody phones up and subjectively says, "I don't like this, I think this is hate," it's recorded as a hate incident. I mean, which is absolutely bizarre in the first instance, but I ultimately don't think this will lead to anybody being arrested or prosecuted or interviewed. But the fact that even the bonfire builders who have put together this artistic piece of work, which
it's impressive, definitely.
It is, and no doubt, look, people, there can be a legitimate debate about taste, there can be a legitimate debate about the propriety. All of those things are legitimate things to debate, but this is entirely lawful, albeit controversial, an act of political protest against an issue which is very important, particularly in Northern Ireland, because you've got to remember, because of the Northern Ireland Protocol, we essentially have an open border with migrants flowing in from the European Union into the Northern Ireland, which is a backdoor in the United Kingdom. So this is an issue which affects absolutely everybody. And as the point that you make, I mean, Stop the Boats was what the former government made almost their motto for quite some time now. I have to say they didn't do very well at stopping the boats.
That's true.
They didn't actually stop any boats, but nevertheless, they weren't prosecuted for hate crime. I mean, what next? Are we going to start prosecuting people for a hate crime for burning Guy Fawkes? I mean, where does this nonsense end?
I totally agree with you, Jamie. Tell us a little bit about the migrant crisis in Northern Ireland. As you say, it's the backdoor entrance that quite a few foreigners use to get into the UK from Southern Ireland and other methods. And recently, of course, in Ballymena, the migrant influx, if you like, triggered some problems insofar as two Romanian young men, 14 years old I think they were, migrants, ended up in court charged with the alleged rape of a local girl. They were 14 years old, but of course the local community, I don't know, we mustn't go into whether or not those people were guilty of that crime, but the mere fact that they were charged with it triggered some very heightened emotions in the local community, and there were 5 nights of riots. So is it the case that across the province people are very concerned and anxious about the magnitude of your migrant crisis?
Yes, absolutely, and because of the Northern Ireland Protocol, Northern Ireland is aligned to European Union immigration law instead of United Kingdom immigration law. So essentially, you have Northern Ireland wedded to the European Union. These immigrants flowing in through Dublin into Northern Ireland, which then becomes a backdoor into the United Kingdom. Of course, then that raises concerns for those of us who are pro-union in terms of what's going to happen then. Are we going to have a border in the Irish Sea between, going from Northern Ireland to Great Britain to try and police that? We're going to have a migrant border as well. But the issues in Ballymena stem from the fact that these people have had concerns for a long time, have been raising these concerns for a long time. There's a mass influx of often illegal immigrants into their communities, dismantling the social cohesion of these areas, dismantling the traditions of these areas, and there's people who come to the United Kingdom, who come to Northern Ireland, who want to be part of our communities, who want to mix in, who want to adopt our traditions, and that's great, and those people are very welcome, and they come and they contribute. But let's not deny it. We have a mass influx of people who bring foreign ideologies, who are hostile to our way of life, our traditions, who've no desire to either work, to contribute, or to mix in. And these people bring with them problems. And when the communities are demonised as racists and all of this, because people refuse to listen to those issues, then what happens is people get frustrated, and you see the scenes which nobody wants to see in Ballymena. But ultimately, those people just, frustrations boiled over, and they felt that no other way to get their voices heard, and that's a fundamental problem which needs to be addressed.
Yeah, and I remember the Ballymena riots, what were they, 2-3 weeks ago now, and Michelle O'Neill, the First Minister, the Sinn Féin First Minister, and the local police chief, Michelle O'Neill, I remember the phrase she used. She said in terms of the riots, that this is pure racism, there's no other word for it. Well, there are a lot of other words for it. It's a community rather concerned that there may have been a rape of a local lady, a local girl actually, a young girl, by migrants. It's an alleged rape by migrants, but it's a community concerned about that. And the police chief said the same. Oh, it's just racist thugs. Well, it's not racist thugs. It's not pure racism, isn't it? And pretending that those riots are something that they weren't isn't going to get anyone anywhere, is it?
Yeah, and look, people aren't, you know, when we talk about racism, this is not about the colour of anybody's skin. This is about foreign ideologies, no matter what colour their skin is. People from foreign ideologies coming to the United Kingdom, trying to impose their foreign ideologies, their way of life upon us, dismantling the cultural and community cohesion which has been built up over generations in local areas, and that is having a difficulty. People are concerned about that. They don't like it. They see that local areas changing. That's something they never voted for. They never voted for the local communities to be changed beyond all recognition. And to simply just call all of these people racists is untrue. It's unfair, and as a matter of fact, it only fuels the resentment and anger which many people actually feel in respect of these issues. And again, I make the point, many people come here, contribute. You know, we have a great Filipino community in Northern Ireland who've come here, who work as nurses, who play an important part in our community, adopted our traditions, and that is fantastic, and everybody mucks in together. What we're talking about here is foreign ideologies who come here and try and live their way of life in our country. I'm sorry, if you're a guest in somebody else's country, you adapt to the traditions of that country or go back to where you came from, and that's just as honest and as blunt as I put it. If I go to a Muslim country, it's incumbent upon me to respect their traditions, to respect their religion, and not to go there and impose my way of life upon them. In the same way, when foreign ideologies come to the United Kingdom, number one, they should come here legally, but when they come illegally, even worse, they should respect the British way of life, and there's nothing racist about that whatsoever.
No, there isn't, Jamie. Well said. Very good to talk to you. Thank you so much for your time. Jamie Bryson there, Union Voice Policy Studies organisation. What do you think about this? You know, it's quite worrying, I think, when people make... It plays into what we were talking about earlier. When people make some kind of statement, political view of the migrant crisis, if it's against the migrants, or if you like it, if you're worried about the migrants, it's dismissed as racism. We've got to stop doing this. Those Ballymena riots were not pure racism. That's what Michelle O'Neill, the Sinn Féin First Minister, said. It's pure racism. Simple as that. Oh, she said, there's no other way to wrap it up. Yeah, there is. There's the reality. It wasn't pure racism. It wasn't racism at all. It was fear. It was anxiety. Who are these people in our community? What are they doing? You know, there's two charged with the rape of a local girl. This is going to get people upset. Keeps calling everyone racist because they're worried about this ongoing invasion of asylum seekers, which is culturally changing this country. This country is changing, and it's down to generations of, or 15 years of absolutely appalling politicians who just imposed this on us. Your thoughts? 03444 991 1000. Let's go to break now. When we come back, your calls, your WhatsApp voice notes, and your text. So lots still to come. Stick around.
example of yet again where the British government, at the time, the Conservative government, and we know the Home Secretary was Suella Braverman, the Immigrations Minister was Robert Jenrick. You know, and here they are, they've been named and they've been shamed today for allowing this to go ahead. Yes, there was a super injunction. Why didn't they resign over this issue? You know, the fact is that this went on under their watch. There's no vetting of these people that are coming in.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back. Right, the rest of the show is all yours, folks. The floor is open. 03444991000. I guess there's only one real story in town, or you might want to give me a call about the return of the giant moa bird, 12 feet high, 400 pounds. They might be bringing it back from extinction, but you'll probably prefer to call me on the secret Afghan airlift. The many thousands of Afghans who've been secreted into this country under the cover of a news blackout brought in by a super injunction taken out by this government. Man, we've got one hell of a lot of voice notes all on the same subject. Well, let's play a couple, shall we? Here's John.
Look, this whole cover-up thing with the MPs, this just highlights to me and many others, it's no wonder we don't trust any MPs anymore. All they do is lie to our faces, especially with this mob that's in power at the moment. It's just blatant lies now, and where will it end?
It is blatant lies. We've been lied to now officially. We found out yesterday for nearly 2 years since they took out that super injunction. But they're lying. You know, they're pretending this wasn't going on. You know, maybe 25,000. Maybe we might end up with 40,000 Afghans who, until yesterday, we knew nothing about being airlifted into this country, secreted out of Afghanistan into this country, and they kept it a secret. In other words, they lied to us. Lied and lied and lied. Unbelievable. Let's have another one. Again on the Afghani migrants. This is Jamie.
Kevin, why aren't our soldiers who have served in Afghanistan around the world given benefits for the rest of their life? They've helped the country just as much, I'd imagine more.
Well, a great point. That's exactly it. I mean, among the many things that I find, well, I'm sure you do too, really enraging about all of this, is that these migrants who come in, you know, they've gone to the top of the housing queue. So they're going to get social housing, council houses, all that. Right over British citizens who've been waiting for years. So vaulting over them, they get the houses. They've also been told that they get welfare for life. So if they want to get a job, it's up to them. But they don't have to work. They can either go and get a job, or they can while the rest of their lives away with us paying for them. And as James just quite rightly said, what about our veterans? The veterans who fought in that war, the brave veterans who fought in that war, too many of them are on the streets homeless. What are we doing to help them? Why aren't we giving them these social houses? Why aren't we giving them welfare for life instead of these foreigners? 03444991000. Let's go to the phones. Let's talk to Laura Jane in Hampshire. Hello, Laura Jane.
Hi, good evening. I'm thinking that this is possibly even more of a convoluted lie than we're thinking. I'm wondering whether the person who leaked it was put up to it, and the reason for that was because they wanted to sneak all of these in under the radar, get the super injunction so that none of us would find out until the moment arrived that recently that the present Defence Secretary released it. But I do wonder, maybe in a bit of a conspiratorial manner, whether this was done on purpose because they didn't want us to know that they were bringing in a lot of...
well, no, there's no doubt about that, Laura Jane, but the real question is exactly why did they apply for this super injunction? Now they're saying it's because we had to keep these mass airlifts secret for the safety of the Afghan people that we were bringing to Britain, because we said
But
that's not why they did it, though, in my view.
But that's what I mean.
They did it because there had been the most enormous cock up by some kind of official at the MOD, and they wanted to spare the civil service and the Ministry of Defence and the government's blushes. That's why they got a super injunction, because they didn't want us to know about this egregious mistake.
Well, I'm just saying that it might not have been a mistake, and that the reasons are exactly the same. They wanted to bring all these people in under the radar, and they used the excuse that it was that the safety, was paramount, and therefore they had to get a super injunction.
Interesting point. But why would the government, want to bring in 25,000 Afghans?
Well, it's the same reason as why do they want to bring in, allow boat people in, etc., etc., because they are wanting to increase the diversity. They want to increase pitting us all against each other.
I guess it's possible.
They want to have reasons to call us right wing. I believe they're doing this on purpose to spread malicious. To make us all unhappy in our own country, and I think it's being done on purpose.
You could be right, yeah. I think it's a very valid point. It's an interesting point. I'm not sure I agree with you. I think this was a situation that was foisted upon them, and they felt that they had to save all these people from being killed by the Taliban. The problem being, Laura Jane, is there's no way. Now, if you take 100,000 are supposed to be on this list, apparently that includes the dependents, the families of the alleged people who helped the British during the Afghanistan war. So we're talking about them probably 30,000 people who actually are said to have helped the Brits. There's no way that many people were helping the British. I phoned a friend of mine this morning. He said he saw about 100 interpreters during his tour of duty in Afghanistan. 100. I said, well, what do you think about this 100,000? He said, I am gobsmacked. He said, I have no idea where they got this figure from. It's almost as if every other Afghani was helping the British during the Afghanistan war. No. I'll tell you what this list is. It's people who applied to come to Britain after the Afghanistan war, probably the vast majority of them pretending that they were collaborators with the British so that they could get to the UK. So Ben Wallace's job was to go through this list and find out who we really owed a responsibility to, because we didn't owe a responsibility to 100,000 people. That is a joke. That is a joke.
Well, I'm just saying that that's maybe the reason why they wanted to cover it up, and they let it out on purpose, because they made promises that we don't even know.
Yeah, that's
the end of the war.
That's possible.
They made promises to all these people they were going to bring them over, and then they thought, oops, everyone's going to be horrified. So they made a bigger lie out of it all to keep us out of it, and knowing that we would all be up in arms about it, which of course
we are. I mean, it's an absolute scandal.
Well, that's going to be interesting.
It's one of the worst scandals I've ever heard in terms of government, Laura Jane. And I do take your point. There are so many elements to this that we need to know about. I'll tell you another thing we need to know about. How many other super injunctions has this government, or have governments taken out? How many other secrets have they kept from us through the work of the courts? Because they issued a statement about this current super injunction, or the one that ended yesterday. They said this was the first and the longest ever government super injunction. In other words, what does that mean? That implies there are others. We need to know about them, and we need to know about them fast. Laura Jane, interesting point. Thank you very much for ringing. Keep in touch. Laura Jane in Hampshire there. Let's go to another WhatsApp voice note, shall we? Let's take Carl on the Afghani migrants.
They're bringing in 25,000 Afghan immigrants, asylum seekers, or whatever you want to call them. It makes a little bit of a mockery of Labour when they keep bragging about, we've returned 30,000 immigrants. No, you haven't. The people that did return, volunteers, and been paid £3,000. Well, there's 25,000 Afghans coming over to replace them in the store, let's be honest. He's on a zero scam now, and you say, what's the point? The whole thing is an absolute joke.
Couldn't agree with you more, Carl. Well put. Here's Darren. Again, I'll tell you what he wants to talk about. The Afghani migrants. Take it away, Darren.
Evening, Kev. Your passion does you proud again, mate. Calling it as it is. We should have took in every Afghani that was press ganged, forced, at gunpoint, blackmailed, whatever, to work for the British Army. Everyone that was forced to. The ones that weren't forced, paid, who did it voluntary, we shouldn't take them in. There you go.
Interesting point. I mean, yeah, a lot of people say that, we're going on as if these Afghanis who helped the British during the war are fantastic people. Well, if you're from Afghanistan, you might regard them as traitors. But I think we take the view that they sided with the good guys, as in us. I just think numerically, the idea that there's 100,000 people who helped the British, 100,000, really? Rubbish. Let's take a call before we go to break. Here's Karen in Peterborough. Hello, Karen.
Hiya, how you doing?
I'm good. What would you like to talk about? Afghanistan?
Well, actually, I work with a guy who's Afghanistani. He's been helping people out with asylum claims. He actually works as a teacher here in the UK now.
Okay.
And he was saying that a load of people disappeared when we had the original flight. They couldn't find people.
Really?
And he said that taxi drivers, bus drivers, people that randomly turned up at the airport all got on the flight, and then there were families trying to find these people, cousins and uncles had just disappeared, and they randomly got on the plane. I mean, and my sister was on the evacuation flight, bringing the people back. She's an RAF nurse, and they brought them back to the RAF bases here in the UK, where they were, and they were being helped out by RAF nurses, RAF doctors, so it wasn't just like NHS staff and social things like that. They were actually looked after by military staff until they could get them off of the military bases and into the councils. So we've brought over a whole load of people, not just the ones on the list that were bogus, but people that were on the original flight. And I mean, this is from people, like the guy who I know, who he knows a lot of the Afghanistanis that are here now. And he's saying to me that a lot of the ones that we brought over on the original flight had nothing to do with it.
Well, so they just managed to sort of con their way onto these planes.
Yeah, he said there was taxi drivers, bus drivers, everyone that had turned up at the airport. Because once they were on the flight, they couldn't do anything about them. Once they were here, of course, so there's more to cover up than just...
You know what, Karen? This makes so much sense. It doesn't surprise me at all. And it also adds to the fact that we just don't know anything about too many of these migrants, these Afghanis who came across. The story you're saying makes that situation even worse. I don't care what they say. If we've got 19,000, we're going for 24,000 altogether. What do we know about these? They've all been fully vetted. Oh yeah. And now you're saying that there were people on the planes who just hopped on it and thought they'd take their chances. Honestly.
People like my sister, who's RAF staff, they did the absolute best for the people that were there.
Of course.
And there were people on the flight who legitimately were.
Yeah, of course.
Who were at risk. People.
Yeah, with it. I'm all for that. Yeah.
But there were a lot of work.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I say, Karen. There were people who were interpreters, translators, various people who worked with the British during the Afghanistan war, Afghanis, who we have a responsibility to help, to save, to bring to this country, to keep them safe from the Taliban. Definitely, no doubt about that. But you're telling me there were 100,000 of them? No way. And now you're saying that basically the planes on the runway, taxi drivers were just nipping on, saying, well, I'll have some of this. It doesn't surprise me, and this story gets worse and worse and worse. Karen, thank you very much for that information. That was fascinating. Thank you. Call me again. Karen in Peterborough. Let's go to break now. More callers, more WhatsApp voice notes. We've got a hell of a lot tonight when we come back. Stay tuned.
side. This is Talk.
Welcome back. Let's go to Chris from Cambridgeshire. Hello, Chris.
Hi, Kev. Kev, first of all, the reason the paleontologist wants to bring those creatures back, he's got some incredibly long grass at the back of his house. I want the 12-foot mower.
Yeah, but it's not him. It's Peter Jackson, the Lord of the Rings.
But you know what I mean.
Anyway, he like me. He has reservations about this. But unless you want to talk about the mower, what should we talk about?
No, it wasn't about that. It's about the state of things that are going on. I mean, today with all the Afghans and everything else, it's just another nail in the coffin. I mean, this country, honestly, is like a big stew pot, and it's coming to the boil. The things in outside the hotel today, the protests and things like that, are like the first bubble.
That'll be the. I don't say this with any relish, and I hope it doesn't happen. But I think what's happening in Epping, or what has been happening in Epping,
it's just the beginning.
Will be the beginning, and people finding out today about this Afghani situation, this appalling situation, where the government saw
the fire.
People are going to be enraged by this. There may be trouble ahead, Chris.
Absolutely. And this is what's going on. Day by day, the actions of this government are stoking the fire.
Yeah, I mean, don't forget, the Tories are responsible for this Afghani mess, but Labour carried it on.
Oh, I didn't just carry it on. If you check back, when it occurred, Starmer was involved.
Well, he's apparently told when he became Prime Minister.
He was told before.
No, he wasn't.
He was leader of the opposition.
Well, what's he supposed to do about it?
As leader of the opposition, he was consulted.
Do you know that? He says he wasn't.
Check.
He says he wasn't.
He was. He was all.
Well, how do you know that?
Because it was on TV at the time.
Oh, well, if it's on TV, it must be true. No, I mean, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. He's the leader of the opposition. He couldn't have done anything anyway. Now, whether or not he knew before, when he came to power, when he became the Prime Minister,
he still kept it quiet.
Yeah, well, that's the point. That's when it becomes relevant. He's done nothing for a year, and he's known about it definitely since he was the Prime Minister.
Let it build up to use it as a weapon.
You think he's that clever? Let me tell you, he's
stupid.
Yes, he is. That's the problem with our Prime Minister, Chris. He's stupid. Don't fall for any of this crap that he's a very clever man and he's working it all out and, he's undermining Britain. He's got a plan. He's a man with a plan. He's not. He's an idiot. He's an idiot. And therein lies our problem.
There's an old saying.
Yeah.
A little intelligence is dangerous.
Yeah, well, he hasn't got any, so don't worry about it.
If he had a brain cell, it'd die of loneliness.
Yeah, exactly right. So luckily, he doesn't have a brain cell, so no loneliness issues in his skull. But yeah, I mean, to be serious, it doesn't really matter whether or not he knew before he was elected. He has known from the day he was elected about this secret airlift situation and has done nothing about it for an entire year. So he has just as many questions to answer as the Tories before him. The whole thing is a shambles, Chris, and an absolute scandal. It really is. Got to move on, but a typically great call from you. Thank you very much, Chris in Cambridgeshire. Let's go a couple more WhatsApp voice notes. Got so many to play. James, again on the Afghani migrants.
Evening, Kev. Just a quick note on the Afghan that was blackmailing the government with the list. Surely the right course of action would have been to, by all means, bring him over to the UK, and then once he's here, lock him up for going against us. It seems crazy that we're giving him a house, benefits, everything else, when he clearly pushed his luck right from the start. Unbelievable.
Yeah, well, welcome. You know what we're like with foreigners, we can't do enough for them. As long as you're foreign in this country, the authorities, local government, national government, they can't do enough for you. If you happen to be unfortunate enough to be a British citizen, no, forget it. Go to the back of the queue. Want a house? No. Keep waiting. We've got some Afghani migrants to put into these houses. Go away. Unbelievable, folks. Let's do another one, shall we? Is this Jay on Afghani migrants?
If Starmer had any respect for the British public, he would have at least come out a couple of weeks back, knowing this would come out, and made an announcement and said, look, we have to help the people that helped our troops. They've turned their backs on Afghanistan to help us. We need to support them. But in return, all the foreign criminals will start immediately to be deported. In return, we will be deporting, up to another 10,000 out of the hotels. That way, the alleged 24,000 coming in, we're getting rid of the 23, the one in, one out policy, you see. It would have softened the blow, and there would have been a bit of honesty from him. But they've just lied and kept it secrets, the Conservatives and Labour. I'm sorry, but them parties, they're done.
Well, I think you're right there, Jay, but one thing I would say, when you talk about the responsibility we had to those who helped us during the war, yes, I totally agree with that. The thing is, I don't believe there were 100,000 of them. I don't believe there were, say, 40,000 of them and their families. So even if you say the 100,000 includes the dependents of those who helped us, that means that adds up to about 20 to 30, maybe 40,000 people helping the Brits during the Afghanistan war. That's not true. There's no way that's true. We've been airlifting in way too many people on this because the government couldn't be bothered to look into who really deserved sanctuary in this country. Therein lies the disgrace of it all. Let's go back to the phones. Let's talk to Bruce in Glasgow. Hello, Bruce.
Hello, Kevin. Kevin, just for instance, I've been hearing all day about the population explosion in Great Britain and how we're the most populated country in Western Europe. Now, that's not strictly accurate.
What is that? What's the most populated country?
If you take the landmass of Scotland minus the islands, it's approximately 2/3 that of England. Now, in England, there are over 60 million people. In Scotland, there are 5.5 million people. So the most populated country in Western Europe is England. And for that reason, I feel very sorry for my friends south of the border.
That's a good point. I mean, if you go to the Highlands, there's hardly anyone there, isn't there? But what we're talking about is the United Kingdom, if you like, in which we have managed to cram 70 million people that we know about. When I was a kid, it's a few years ago, the population of this country was 55 million. It's now 70 million, and rising and rising and rising, and they think there may well be at least 10 million people we don't know about living here. So it could be there's 80 million people in this country. Given the size of these islands, that is a very crowded country indeed. Yeah.
Exactly, Kevin. But as I say, there have been only 5.5 million people up here, and the local authorities up here are very, very strict on taking migrants into hotels and houses.
Are they? I bet they're not.
Yes, they are.
No, it's Scotland. I bet they're letting the millions of them in.
That's 5.5.
You trust your government to be very strict about this, do you?
Well,
I wouldn't trust your government as far as you could throw them. You know what I'm saying? Bruce, really good to talk to you. It's a good point you make. It's not overcrowded in Scotland. Bruce in Glasgow. Let's take a WhatsApp voice note before we go to break. Kieran on the state of the country.
Hey Kevin, you can guarantee yourself one thing. This won't stop. The government never stopped lying to us. The previous government never stopped lying to us. They are the same. And God forbid if they try to change the rules or make things difficult for people to cast their vote. But we'll give them a couple of years and then we will go to the ballot and we will vote them out, all of them, every single one of them out forevermore.
I think you're right, Kieran. I think people are getting furious. I mean, what we're talking about here is the Tory government for 15 years, absolutely useless. And no mean feat, in came Labour, even worse. I mean, We didn't think that was possible. This is successive government after government after government, absolutely gormless, absolutely useless, and the people are sick of it. You know, can't we have some competent people? What happened to competent politicians? What happened to good politicians? Why are they all so useless now? Why are they all such liars now? They didn't used to be liars. They're liars now. Right, let's go to break. When we come back, more of your calls, more of your WhatsApp voice notes, and more of your texts.
People via Parliament were going to be not just misled but directly lied to, and the costs that were suggested to the court, £7 billion. Now, there is an ancient constitutional principle that money is not raised and spent in this country without the approval of the House of Commons. £7 billion is a lot of money to spend secretly without letting anybody know.
It is.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back. Let's go back to the phone. Actually, let's do a WhatsApp voice note first. This is another state of the country. We've done Kieran, haven't we? This is Scott.
It's every week, Kev. It's every blinking week, mate. This country is on its knees. This country is a ticking time bomb. Mark my words, Kev. You remember this conversation I'm having with you now, mate. Something is going to happen, and it's going to be big. Because this country is a ticking time bomb. Something is waiting to happen. Either an attack or retaliation from the people. One of them two is going to happen, if not both. Everyone's had enough, mate. It's just beyond a joke now. It's beyond a joke.
Well, Scott, I mean, I think you're voicing the fears of many people in this country. There's this feeling, I mean, I was saying earlier, just how much longer can this government go on? I mean, it is assailed, consumed by so many scandals, so many disasters, so many mistakes, that it is unable to function. It can't go on like this. This swirling mass of incredible incompetence has brought this country to its knees, and the people are realizing it. You know, they're telling us lies. Thousands of foreigners coming in they don't even tell us about. They keep it a secret. Oh, come on, give me a break. People have had enough, and Scott is making a good point. As I keep saying, nobody wants there to be trouble in this country, but the way this government is going is a recipe for more trouble like we saw last summer. I hope it doesn't happen, but it may well do. It's very, very worrying, folks. Let's talk to Steve in London. Hello, Steve.
Hi, Kevin, you all right?
Yeah, you want to talk about Michael Gove?
Just really, we can't get any clears for you with this mess from the Afghans coming in.
Yeah, but you said about Gove saying we had a moral obligation to the Afghans. I think, sorry, I'm not allowed, you called in and now I'm talking, but let me just make my point. I agree, we had a moral obligation to those Afghans who really did help the Brits during the Afghanistan war. A friend of mine said that in all the time he was there, he was an officer there, he saw about 100 interpreters. And when I said, well, what do you think about this 100,000 figures? He said, I have no idea where you're getting that from, where they're getting that from. So, yes, we had a moral obligation to the people who helped us during the war. war. But did they really number 100,000? No, I don't think they did. That's my problem there.
I don't think there's anywhere near 100,000, but our first moral obligation should be to our own safety.
There is that, yep, absolutely.
Who are still on the streets, still struggling with accommodation, still struggling to get round accommodation because the houses haven't been modified for the injuries that they carry and everything else. We don't back them as much as we should do, and we need to get out. Michael Gove was just absolutely pompous this morning on the Julian Hartley show.
I agree. I quite like Gove, but I agree with you. I gather he was very unhappy with that interview. That's because Julia quite rightly put him on the spot. He seemed to think that there was absolute full justification for this secrecy and the airlift. No, there wasn't.
But they've also got to take into context that we spent with the Americans, I'm not sure if there's any other NATO troops out there, we spent 20 years in Afghanistan. We built up an army, we trained them, the cost must have been astronomical, and within a fortnight they were gone. The Taliban literally walked back in.
Yeah, what was it all for in the end? Good, very good question, Steve. I mean, that was down to Biden, of course. He didn't help by suddenly deciding to...
That was his way when he pulled out. He just didn't pull out correctly. It should have been doing stages rather than, that's it, we're going to end off, let's get it out as fast as we can. It was Trump that initiated the withdrawal. I don't think if Trump had still been in power, that he would have withdrew as fast as they did, or in the way that they did.
Well, Biden ruined his presidency with that exodus, that shambles of an exodus from Kabul. He absolutely ruined his presidency.
I don't think it helped it, but I don't think his cognitive ability helped him either.
No, but that, it was some of his decisions, and Afghanistan was a disastrous decision. Yeah. Really, really bad. You can still remember those awful scenes of bombs going off, people dying, and what a mess. What a mess. These politicians, Gove and Ben Wallace, no regrets, we have the moral obligation. Well, what about the moral obligation, as you quite rightly say, to our servicemen, many of whom, or too many of whom, they're not getting free homes and free welfare for life. They're out on the streets. They're homeless. Now that's wrong. And what about the moral obligation to the people of this country? Our politicians, our government, deciding then what we're going to do is we're going to bring 25, 30, 40,000 Afghanis to this country about whom we don't know very much. Oh yeah, we do know some of them are sex offenders. So what about the moral obligation to the people of this country not to impose on them sex offenders from Afghanistan? What about that?
Well, it's one of those cases, the left, the bleeding heart left will always look at it and go, oh, we need to do this, we need to do that. But I just look at it and go, well, how many people need to be murdered in this country? How many children need to be molested in this country? And so on and so on and so on. I can tell them the figure when it's too many. One.
Yeah.
It's too many.
Yeah, I agree with you.
If these people cannot adapt to our way of life instead of our politicians forcing their cultures onto us, and the way you wouldn't look at that child from the Derbyshire school, I think it was yesterday, Courtney, sent home from school in a Union flag.
Yeah. No, you're not allowed to do that. You've got to be diverse. Being British, that's the biggest crime going.
And it's just wrong, and then you can just go through society, you can speak to anybody, and the biggest problem we have, I think, where it's all stemming from, is the education system. Yeah. They're being taught, all this anti-Semitism and everything else is coming out of the education system.
Yeah, no. Our kids are being brainwashed by left-wing teachers who aren't particularly clever. It's extremely worrying. The thing about that kid in the what's her name, Courtney, in the Union Jack dress, the speech she wanted to make about tea, Shakespeare, fish and chips, and the Royals. She was told, oh no, this is Diversity Day. You can't talk about Britishness on Diversity Day. So she was banned from that. And I was thinking, well, why is the school having a diversity day? What's that about? How about this? Teach them English, teach them maths, teach them history. Do what schools used to do when I was a kid. Teach you stuff. Not brainwash them with diversity days. it's it's really worrying, and what it will prove is that apart from clever kids like Courtney, what we'll have coming up, Steve, is generations of brainwashed little woke lefties, which doesn't bear thinking about. They'll go straight into Keir Starmer's government, no doubt. Steve, good to talk to you. Thanks for the ring. Call me again. Steve in London there. Let's just take another WhatsApp voice note. We're really getting through them. We've only got a couple to go. This is Tony on Labour.
Why do successive governments behave like Father Christmas to anybody outside Britain, to give this impression that we have loads of money, when in effect we're virtually bankrupt? I just don't get it.
Exactly right. Father Christmas to foreigners. That's what this country is. But we prioritise the wants and the needs and the desires of foreigners over the wants and the needs and the desires of indigenous British citizens. Seems to me a bit skewed. Why don't they look after us first? It really is bad. Let's talk to, of course, the great Georgina in London, who is fuming. I bet you are, Georgina. So am I. In what way are you fuming tonight?
Oh, sweetheart, listen, I could sit and talk to you all night about every single subject you talked about, because honestly, I hate watching soaps, Kevin. I hate it. I won't watch it because of the drama and the BS. And I actually feel like I'm living in one. It's absolutely ridiculous with everything that's going on. There's been zero due diligence with regarding these Afghani migrants who've come over to the UK. We don't know who's come over, and we don't know who's genuine and who isn't. You know, these people, if they'd all helped out, there's 100,000 of them coming over, that would mean that each soldier had 7 helpers. You know what, Kevin? This is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's not 100,000. Georgina, let's do a bit of maths here. Also, this secret airlift that continues to this day, not so secret now, I guess, £7 billion it's cost. Now, this is a government that tried to save £1.4 billion by freezing pensioners to death, taking their winter fuel allowance away. It tried to take money from welfare claimants. That didn't work out so well. So it's been saying, oh, we have to save $5 billion off our welfare bill. We have to save 1.4 billion on the winter fuel allowance. But what they're not telling us is we can't find this money. We haven't got this money, but they can find secretly £7 billion to ship in a load of Afghani migrants.
Absolutely. Well, this is boiling my blood. Spending £7 million of the taxpayers' hard-earned cash on migration when the indigenous population are elderly, are freezing in the houses. This country has gone to the dogs, and it's an abhorrent injustice to the people of Britain, Kevin. That money should be used to better the lives of our own people.
Exactly, Georgina, exactly. This has got to stop. I mean, governments, local governments, national governments prioritise the needs of and the wants of foreigners over the needs and the wants of British citizens. It's perverse, and it's got to stop. You're absolutely right. Georgina, I have to stop you now because we're coming towards the end of the show, but I completely agree with everything you said, and I share your raging fury. I really do. Good to talk to you as always, Georgina in London. Couple of texts. I've got time to read one. This is from Jerry. So, do you think reform will go up further in the polls due to this Afghan scandal? Well, Jerry, yes. Simple as that. All of these mistakes, particularly on the migrant crisis front, are good for reform. What have we got here? This is Ian. How many Afghans are the Americans taking? Peel it back. If it was America's war and we backed them up under the NATO umbrella. It's true, actually. Yeah, I wonder. I bet you it's not as many as us. This is from Dan in Cardiff. I haven't read any of these, so God knows where it's going to go. Can I ask a silly question? Yes, you can, Dan. That's what this show's all about. Why are people who break into this country illegally entitled to any kind of legal help or even jurisprudence, due process or anything like it? They are not citizens, they are foreign criminals. Am I wrong? Keep up the great work. Yeah, I just don't know. I don't think we should give them lawyers. Very quickly, because she's been waiting, let's talk to Lisa in Cardiff. No, she's gone. We got rid of Cardiff. Okay, oh, there you go. Sorry, Lisa, I was going to talk to you. Okay, call us up tomorrow. Yeah, next time wait. Right, it's Petri Huskin. She's in the studio. How you doing?
I love Cardiff. Have you ever been?
No, I was going to ask Lisa all about it, but they cut her off.
No, and the Welsh people as well. They're very, very funny. Anyway,
but not in a good way.
No, they are hilarious.
Oh, are they?
With a great sense of humour. Yeah, I won't hear a word said against them. They're great.
Yeah. I love the Welsh. I love the Welsh. I'm just distrustful of people who think they've got great sense of humour.
They have. They've made me laugh all the time.
It's like Liverpool, funniest city on earth. Yeah? New Yorkers. Hilarious.
I don't know about Liverpool.
Yeah.
But I'm heading to Scotland, actually, for something that
now?
Yeah.
You got a show to do.
That isn't in the least bit amusing. It's the Prevention of Domestic Abuse Bill in Scotland. There's a new bill being put forward. Basically, the idea is to create a register for domestic abusers, like there are for sex offenders.
Yeah.
And it's quite controversial because a lot of people are saying, well, hang on a minute, we don't know what's caused the domestic violence, but a lot of people are saying, it doesn't matter. If you beat up your partner, whether it be male or female, then you should be on a register and you should have to give them their... I don't mind it at all either, no. And domestic abuse is massively on the rise as well. So I really, at midnight, I'm doing that at 10, but at midnight as well, I want to really try and examine why. What is causing this rise in domestic abuse?
Yeah, it's interesting. It really has been an amazing show. We're going to do it all again tomorrow, so I expect you to be here at 7 p.m. See ya.
Oh no.
There is a big update for you on that feral schoolboy yob. Plus...
Just try and whack it. Yes, this is good. And again. That's it. And again. Try and breathe. Relax.
Meltdown. Sir Keir Starmer expels 4 Labour MPs. But one of them, though, well, will she be missed?
To shout so much more and say 20,000 is not enough, because what does it matter if we have to wait another week for a hospital visit?
Oh, yeah, I mean, people might die, but, what does it matter anyway? Good riddance. On my panel tonight, we have got political commentator Emily Sheffield, we've got businessman and activist Adam Brooks, and Labour councillor Sebastian Salak. And what the heck is this? And from 11 p.m. until midnight, it's Late Edition, which is a detailed look at tomorrow's front pages. And by the way, we've got a story that is landing at precisely 11 p.m. And it looks as though the government has missed a huge opportunity to deport members of the Pakistani rape gangs. You're not going to want to miss that. Get ready, Britain. Here we go.